to my shame, this is the first time I've actually been here, because I have asked the Save the Rocks Valley crowd just to sort of meet me, and it never worked out. There was always either they were busy or they just didn't get back to me, and I kept thinking, okay, we'll do it soon. And then the great news broke that the valley had been saved, and now 5th of January, a little bit of a development on that front. This seems to me, you know, almost, you know, I'd like to sort of say it's you know, just ridiculous, but it's almost malicious the way that they've gone about this, because there had been an actual ruling, development plan, that this would be left alone.
Yeah, no, that's very well. Very well put indeed. Because to put that in context, what you've just said, the county development plan is now approved, and in the county development plan, this area, this valley, is listed properly to be protected, not to be touched.
Right.
And that plan is in place for 6 years. The normal run of things is that the new plan replaces everything that goes before it, the old plans in other words. Back in July, when the draft plan was approved, that was also approved. And the draft plan, that was back in July. And the local authority only put in their licence to the EPA on the 4th of October. And they only got a letter back from the EPA on the 11th of October. Right. So your point is very well made. It is very disingenuous, and it's hard to believe. Now, if you take the site here we're standing in front of, this is part of it.
Right.
The local authority are using this, as you can see, as a yard. They've no planning permission. This is a new entrance they created, and they're coming out onto the road. Now, if I took you up the road to a neighbour up here who could put in an entrance, and if they did that, they'd be made close it down.
Sure. So
I mean, we have to have fairness, and this is just wrong.
Right.
There's everything you think about this is wrong. Now, the concerning point I have about this is there was somebody out here yesterday, as I understand it, from on board Clonola. Now, the board, as I understand it again, can ignore the development plan. But the members of Wicklow County Council have approved that. So if they can ignore something like that, what kind of a country are we living in?
Well, also there was obviously the neighbours are very concerned, and they came down to talk to one or two of the people that were here, and one of them kind of let it be known that they really could do what they wanted, and that if they couldn't get, you know, to put their dump here from the Dargle, they could get, you know, we sell it to a private developer, and they also sort of mentioned the possibility that there's no birds or animals of any great worth or importance.
But that's all wrong.
Which is just, but it's also the attitude of almost like deliberately provoking and trying to be antagonistic towards, you know, somebody who ultimately pays their wages, somebody who ultimately is, you know, possibly more concerned about how Wicklow's it will be in the future than they might be. There's a sense, I know the Wicklow County Council are impeccable and they never put a foot wrong, and many court has proven they've never put a foot wrong. But this idea that they're constantly kicking the golden goose, hoping to get another egg out of it, just by recognising, well, there's a bit of land, that could be worth a bit of money. Let's turn it not so much into the garden of Ireland as the garden patio of Ireland. You know, and
well, see, Paul, you would and all that's fair.
Yeah.
And you would imagine that with the system, if the system is fair and the system is supposed to work in the interest of the people of the country, that's been put into the county development plan as I described to you. This valley, the residents don't want it, the community doesn't want it, the community going down as far as Wicklow town doesn't want it, because this valley connects with the breaches down in Kilcool, which in turn connects with the Mora in Wicklow. Right. So it's a whole eco valley system that's very important.
Right.
And there's a stream in here that flows down there, and the talk about putting 300,000 tonnes of soil that's. They say it's proper soil, but I'm told that it's not. Well, so it's all wrong, and people don't want it. So and the people don't want it to the extent that the public representatives have put it into the county development plan, and still they want to plough ahead. Now, the question I would also ask is, why would the board and why would the EPA, knowing all this, because they know it, why would they proceed? I mean, this is crazy stuff. I mean, we're supposed to live in a democracy. This is not democracy.
But that heavy-handedness that they've shown their hand too in Blackberry Lane, where, you know, plainly people were a little bit shocked and stunned, but their attitude was almost, it's like telling the fat kid who owns the ball that he's not playing properly, and he just suddenly says, I'm taking the ball and going home, like I'm not going to play. There is this attitude that they almost batten down the hatches once you even point out the fact that this doesn't quite work, this doesn't quite fit. And this idea that they would, as I said, address people locally on the 5th and the 6th of January, almost with the attitude is, you know, you can't tell me what to do, we're going to do what we want. And it just seems so unnecessarily
Paul,
aggressive.
Look at you wouldn't be let do this. There's a field at the back of this here, back in 1999, where the person that owned it applied for the same thing that the county council are now going ahead with, and they turned them down and gave a whole lot of conditions and reasons why they were turning them down, the area, the site, the value, everything else, and they're ignoring all those points for themselves.
Sure.
I mean, it's just not right. And at the end of the day, really and truly, having said all of that and having take all the emotion out of it, the facts are that the members of the Wicklow County Council have put into the county development plan that is now approved that this is to be left alone. Now, why the county council or any local authority or any government body, whether it be EPA, whether it be the An Bord Pleanála, can say that I'm going to ignore that? I mean, there's something seriously wrong. And in this day and age now, when people are standing up and saying to the system, hang on, you can't treat us like that, you know, and they just can't do it. And why officials can't see that is baffling.
And we should just finish up by saying that there is a planning permission again. They've put a planning permission on the area. So we'll put the link to that, and people can examine it, and we can object to it. I mean, I would hope.
No,
this
is where they have appealed for their license and everything else. Well, there was a notice up, and it obviously got wear and tear and blown away. So the EPA, I think, came out and said you'll have to put your sign up again. But I find it amazing that they would put the sign up again.
Well, if you've been refused planning permission,
the fact that the county development plan, which is the most serious document in the county for the next 6 years, and I can just say, well, hang on a minute now, I'm paying no attention to that. You know, I mean, come on. And when that question was put to them, I must say, they struggled to answer it, and then started throwing things like, oh, well, they're going to go and get legal advice. And I wish they would, because no legal advice is going to allow them to do that.
I think we should put a preservation order on it, make it into a nature park, the Eddie Sheehy Memorial Park. It'd be just a nice place to come and enjoy the Wicklow countryside.
I'm not going to.
There are points you could not see a house for a while.
I'm not going to comment on that at this moment in time.